MoviePass is officially back. Hey everyone, this is Kevin T. Rodriguez, film critic of iCritic.net, and today we are going to finally talk about the MoviePass 2.0 experience, and I'm giving my official review on the service. Now, I'm a little late to this game. I probably should have been one of the first people to make this video, considering my status as the #1 MoviePass channel for at least a couple of years, but after I recorded the initial video, I kind of was looking at it, I was editing, and I decided, you know what, I'm not happy with that video. There were things I didn't really touch upon that I probably should have, so I decided to start over. And I'm glad I did that because it also gave me time to really delve deep into the service, have some time with it, and give my honest-to-God opinions. And we're going to start that now. Now, for those of you who are new to the whole MoviePass thing or just want a quick little refresher, MoviePass was basically billed as a Netflix for movie theaters. It even had like a red logo and everything, or at least a red background, white logo, kind of like Netflix, and you would pay a monthly subscription service. You would get a card in the mail, and you could see a movie a day. Now, when it was originally launched under founder Stacy Spikes, this cost was around $35 to $50. I personally paid $40 a month, and you could see one movie a day. And that was a really good deal, especially for me who sees a lot of movies. But even for the average, ticket buyer, if they saw 2 or 3 movies, then they would essentially be out ahead of the game, and then everything else they saw would be gravy on the cake. Well, that company ended up having a large portion of the company bought out by a company called Helios and Matheson, and they installed a former Netflix executive, Mitch Lowe, into the position as the CEO. And what he decided to do, he and Helios and Matheson CEO Ted Farnsworth decided to really get MoviePass into people's homes by offering a $9.95 a month deal, where for $10 a month, you could see one movie a day. It seemed like an almost too good to be true deal, and it ended up being the case. Now, originally, according to Stacy Spikes, this was supposed to be a promotional price they decided to keep indefinitely, which resulted in the company hemorrhaging hundreds of millions of dollars, the stock being tanked and cratered, and ultimately the company went bankrupt. Stacy Spikes was fired. I think Ted and Mitch have been indicted on fraud charges, and it was a pretty dismal result for everyone involved. Except, despite going into bankruptcy, nobody actually wanted to buy the MoviePass patents, the company, the assets. Nobody wanted it. So Stacy Spikes, the original founder, came back, bought the assets, and he decided to relaunch MoviePass himself once again. And by the way, I had the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Spikes, and if you want to see what that looks like, you can click the link above. It's about an hour long, but it's well worth the time, and that gives you a really good idea of what Spike's philosophy going forward about MoviePass is going to be. But now let's talk about MoviePass itself. What's different, what's the same, and does it work? Well, the first thing that you're going to notice that's different, although it's minor, but it's kind of important, is that you still get a debit card. However, it's not red anymore. Those iconic red cards that you used to see everywhere is gone. Now it's a black card, and I personally think it's a really nice design. I'm impressed with it, and so as long as your movie theater accepts MasterCard, you will be able to use this at a movie theater to buy a movie. Now, it is no longer a movie a day thing. What this is now is that you are given a credits system, and the credits are exactly as they sound. You pay for a certain amount of credits each month, and then you can use those credits towards movies. And how much credits will be required to see a movie will be determined depending on the day of the movie and the time of the movie. This has already caused some confusion with some people wondering why is the 2 o'clock showing of a movie they want to see more credits than the 5 o'clock showing on a Saturday or Sunday, when the reality is that, well, the 2 o'clock showings are more popular, the 5 o'clock showings are less popular, thus the credits adjust accordingly. Now, originally, I thought that the kind of movie you were going to see was also going to determine how much the credits would cost you to see a movie, but that does not appear to be the case, and in fact, I think they really can't do that. I think MoviePass would like to implement that into their app, but the thing is, you can't really see what movie you're using MoviePass for when you actually swipe the card, only that you swipe the card at a movie theater. So therefore, while I previously thought a Marvel movie would cost more credits, and like the new Julia Louis-Dreyfus comedy, for example, would cost less credits, it appears that the credits are just going to be the same for every movie across the board, which means that unfortunately, Marvel movies are still going to be ruining the MoviePass experience for a lot of people, because when there's a brand new Marvel movie that comes out, basically the credits are going to have to go for all the movies as a result of that one movie. So, one more reason to detest the reliance on Marvel superheroes and IP, I suppose. Now, if you do not use all of those credits, fear not. The credits do roll over, which is a huge incentive for people who previously might not have subscribed to AMC Stubs or Regal Unlimited, because it's like, well, hey, what if I don't go see a movie that month? Well, MoviePass has you covered. Those credits will roll over. However, they only roll over a period of 2 months. So if you go more than 3 months without seeing a movie, those credits will start to expire. And of course, at that point, you might want to even evaluate whether or not you want to be subscribed to MoviePass in the first place. Now, for those of you who do want a movie every day, there are some options. Now, I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing. When I first saw it, it was like a limited quantity situation, but now on the website, that does not appear to be the case. But there is a unlimited movie option where you could see a movie a day. It's still based on credits, and so that's going to be interesting on how that works out. But you can pay it. You're going to be paying a lot more money, though, closer to $50 or $60. And I think at that point, MoviePass can still make money, because even if you are someone who likes to see all the latest movies, there will be some months where there will be less movies that are appealing to you. So unless you want to go see crummy movies just because you want to make sure to use it, they're going to make some money on you on that point. So business-wise, this seems like a much more stable proposition. We'll, of course, have to wait and see, but so far, the pricing makes sense. Now, as for what kind of movies you can see, right now, you can only see one type of movie, which is a 2D experience. There are no 3D, there's no IMAX, there's no Dolby, there's no Cinemark XD, there's no 4DX. Now, that may come later on down the line, and in fact, it might even be easy to do, considering the price differentiator. Maybe they will eventually just make it where, like, hey, if you want to see the 4DX or something, you just cost more credits or something like that. I think that will be easy to implement, but at the time, it is not a thing, so you will only be using this for 2D movies. Also, each card is good for one person. Now, I personally hope that MoviePass eventually starts looking towards couple and family plans on one card. For example, I know a family who would love to get MoviePass for all 7 members of their family. It is a big family, but that being said, they don't want to have separate different accounts, and they don't want to give their kids smartphones. So I think that is something that MoviePass should consider doing in the future. And if I were them, I would probably work on that sooner rather than later. Now, this does bring up one of the bad things about MoviePass, is that this card can be a hindrance, especially for new movies, because you actually have to be at the theater, you have to check in, and then you can select whatever tickets are available. Considering how many tickets have moved to online with reserved seating, this means that unless you go on like a Tuesday or a Wednesday for a movie that's been out for a couple of weeks, chances are you are going to be seeing those new movies in a less than desirable seat, because that is a limitation of the card. Now, if a company, or not a company, a movie theater, I should say, decides to partner with MoviePass, you will see that you can get an e-ticket, and obviously that's going to mean you can select your seat and you can get it a little bit more in advance in the day. You don't have to be at the theater. That's all well and good, but so far there is not a lot of theaters doing that. And in fact, I live in the LA area. I have not seen a single theater that is doing that yet. Just know that with this card comes great limitations compared to the other ticket services. As for how many times you can see a movie, there appears to be no limitation on how many times you can see a movie. If you want to see Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumanium 3 times in a row, I don't know why you would. That's kind of a crummy movie. But if you want to see that movie multiple times, you can. So they are removing the restriction of seeing a movie multiple times, but they probably are doing that because of the credits system. And the credit system will definitely keep people in check, because the last thing MoviePass wanted to do was to basically have a Black Panther situation all over again, where people would take their MoviePass card and see that movie every single day, multiple times. It was amazing how loose the rules were for MoviePass in the original incarnation. Now, here's the thing. Even though they have multiple tiers, I think most people do the basic tier and either use MoviePass in conjunction with either AMC Stubs A-List or Regal Unlimited. But there is another feature that is coming to MoviePass that is not there yet, but this is going to be MoviePass's weapon. This is their secret sauce, if you will, that's going to make the company not go bankrupt this time, and it's going to make things very accessible and make it very profitable, and that is pre-show. Now, pre-show is a separate company that Stacy Spikes kickstarted several years ago. In fact, he talked about this in his book, which I will also be discussing on this channel, so make sure to subscribe if you want to hear that review or my discussion of it. But he talked about the idea for pre-show, where he went up and he had like an ad-based service where people could watch an ad, and after they get the ad, they would get money to get a movie ticket. Now, the snag for that was an executive asked, well, what's to stop someone from putting down the phone and getting the ticket anyway? And Spikes admitted he didn't have an answer, and they said, well, if you could prove that people were actually watching the ad, it would be worth a lot more money. Well, he figured it out. There is some eye tracing software in the app. I'm not exactly sure how it works. He describes it as like a sensory thing. I don't know exactly. I'm not a tech person in that sense. But pre-show will be incorporated into MoviePass at some point. Now, it's going to be entirely optional, so in case you don't like the idea of having to watch a phone and having the phone scanning you or whatever, then you could choose not to do that. However, when you do that, you'll get more credits. So I think a lot of people could get like the $10 or $15 MoviePass, and then if they ever want to see more than a couple movies a month, they could watch the ad and they would get credits, and then they would, go see the movie. That's going to be extremely lucrative for MoviePass if that actually takes off. And so that's going to be the secret sauce on why MoviePass most likely succeeds this time around. Now, as for me, does having MoviePass back change some of my movie subscription options? Did I do anything differently? Did I decide to cancel one of them? And the answer is yes. I actually did decide to cancel one of my Cinemark Movie Club memberships. We had 2 for the Fathom events. However, now with MoviePass and us being able to use it at Cinemark, I didn't need 2 of them, so we got rid of 1, and we're keeping 1 just for the Fathom events because I don't think those are really covered under MoviePass. And so for me, that does change it a little bit. Now, for some people, they might try something different. They might look at the movie theaters they go to, and it's like, okay, I've got Regal and AMC. I go to AMC more than Regal, therefore I will cancel my Regal, and I will primarily use AMC. And if I have to go to Regal, I will use my $10 MoviePass card. And of course, one thing that's really nice about this is I've been going back to mom and pop owned movie theaters, particularly the Regency in Costa Mesa, which has like the classic movies on Wednesday and everything. I love that theater. And I've been going there more often because I have MoviePass again, and that is a great thing to have. So I think it is going to change at least some people. I think it's going to appeal to 2 primarily people. One, the very casual moviegoer who only sees a couple movies a month, but likes the idea of saving some money, and the movie person who wants to go to the mom and pop shops. I think that's who it's going to appeal to, because the people who go to like the independent theaters and stuff, they're the ones who like seeing the indie films and the foreign films, and those aren't always carried by Cinemark, Regal, and AMC. And so for them, MoviePass will be a godsend. Now, of course, we'll have to wait and see whether or not things work out. There are already gripes about the points going up and down, and there's still some trial and error. And MoviePass's brand has admittedly been damaged so much that when I go to some of these Facebook groups, whenever there's a little bit of change, they're like, oh, MoviePass is doing it again. But the thing is, MoviePass was not sustainable the way it was at $10 a month. I even look back at some of my old MoviePass videos where I'm defending that price point and investing in the stock, and it's like I was so blinded for my love of the product that I really didn't see that that was not sustainable. This is much more sustainable. It's much more realistic. And you know what? Hey, I'm still saving money on it, and you will too. And that is the thing you should take away from this. You will save money seeing movies on MoviePass, even if you only want to see one movie a month. Because at $10 a month, you are guaranteed at least one movie. And hey, considering the average ticket price where I live is $15, that's still something. And if you want to see more, there are bigger plans and eventually a ad subscription service where you can watch ads and get free movie tickets, and then MoviePass might really be of value to you. In the meantime, I definitely give the new MoviePass 4 out of 5 stars. I think it is a wonderful return to form, considering that we had to be realistic about what this service was going to be. And I would like to know what you think about this new relaunch service, so comment below, like, favorite, share, subscribe, and as always, flame responsibly. Have a good one.